I don't want to tell you how many times I've done. Okay. Well, hold on one second. Welcome everybody. Tonight is our AMCAS party. I have been doing some version of the AMCAS party. I think this will be I started in 2014, so what would that make this? My 12th year doing AMCAS stuff. So a long, long time. I'm gonna try to watch the chat. Okay, so I see a couple questions already. If my letters were from last year, can I still use them or do they need to be updated? I need to send a transcript from every school I took a class at. Yes. Okay, good stuff. That's all the stuff we're going to talk about tonight. Awesome. Okay, well, welcome everybody. This is being recorded. So my name is Joanne Snap, and we are going to go through AMCAS. So just a reminder, the way that this works, I got some questions today that already kind of indicated to me that may not fully understand the way that this whole process works. Um, so applications open today, of course, and you have an entire month. You have until May 28th to fill out your application and to submit your application. You can't submit it till May 28th, but you likely are going to be done filling it out because you guys are all on top of everything. Most of you have everything done. You'll be done with this in a couple of weeks. This is not going to take an entire month. People, however, I mean, you can't submit it. So people may drag it out. You don't have to do it today. You can wait a couple weeks. It doesn't matter. One of the questions I got today was does the pace or the time at which you finish your filling out your application have any impact? Like absolutely not. Nobody's watching you right now. So when you submit your application on May 28th, some people may feel like, oh my gosh, I must be the first one to submit my application. I'm going to wake up at 3 in the morning and be ready and submit it on the minute it opens. And that's okay. Like if that's your thing, you like doing stuff like that. I mean, that's great. I love that for you. It has no effect on this process. If you think that that's the trick to getting into med school, I'll let you keep believing that because it makes you feel good, but it has absolutely zero bearing on this process for a lot of reasons that I've talked about a lot in the Tuesday night meetings. But submitting the minute it opens, submitting on day one has no effect on this process. You want to submit your application, I would say by the middle of June at the latest. I think just because the longer you wait, the longer it takes to get verified. Based on what I've seen in previous years, people who submit on day one typically get verified within anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks. So you could be verified by, let's say, June 20th. And then what happens after you're verified on June 20th? Absolutely nothing, because the med schools do not get your applications until June 26th. So anyone who's verified before June 26th, nothing happens. You just sit there and wait until June 26th. If you happen to not be verified by June 26th, this is where people start panicking. And I will tell you now, and then you're still going to panic and you're still going to send me the emails. And I know this because I've been doing this for a while. But truly, it's okay. Like, if you're still being verified after June 26th, that means a lot of other people are still being verified. It doesn't matter. Like you're going to get into med school because you have a good application, not because you were the first person in line. So medical school screeners are really, really smart people, and they actually know, like they can tell what a good application looks like. They don't pick people based on the order in which they apply. They actually pick people based on the strength of their application. So even though you may submit on day one, you could have like a lot of people submit on day one with a terrible application. So they just applied early to get denied early. Like that didn't give them any advantage. So I would rather, if you're in a situation where you're still like tweaking things, I would much rather you take the time, make your application stronger and submit, a week later versus rushing and having, mistakes in your application. So you can submit your app on June 26th. At that point, all of the schools get their applications. It usually comes, I mean, I remember when I did this, there were probably about 1,500 to 2,000 apps on the very first day. And what happens is they push a button and they push all the applications through an email. It says, hey, thank you for email or thank you for applying. We call that the application acknowledgement email. So on June 26th or June 27th or 28th, you'll get an email from all the schools that just thanks you for applying. And for you guys, it'll be like the biggest deal. You're like, oh my God, a med school emailed me. Everybody is getting this email. They send it to everybody. Nobody's looking at your app. They're just sending out emails through systems right now. Then what they're going to do is push buttons and they're going to start filtering your applications and putting your applications into piles. So your app will be filtered and you'll be put into different piles and you'll be screened at different points for different reasons by different people. And this is the part where you lose control of the process. So you can submit on day one, but you can get put into a pile that's going to get screened 3 weeks later. It doesn't matter when you submit your application, they all have a process that works like that they use. So the concept of rolling admissions is what it is. Like they do read applications as they come in, but that's a little bit deceiving because they also use filters on the back end to move people around. And I know this for a fact because when I worked in New York, I went and talked to medical schools who used processes like putting California applicants in different piles to read later because they knew California applicants didn't really want to come out to New York. So this is where people start getting really stressed out in June, I mean, in July. People are writing secondaries, you're submitting secondaries. Schools will send you secondaries when they send them. If you haven't gotten an acknowledgement email from a school, that's when you go check your spam folder. And this is why we don't use our college email when we apply to med school. So if you have been using your college email, I want you to switch it out. I want you to change your email to like a Gmail or just something where you have, it's not going to screen out the application emails. College emails are notorious for spamming all of those emails. So especially if you get, a bunch of emails on the same day, then they'll likely go to spam. So if you had planned to use your college email, don't go change it. Use your Gmail instead. So July, you're sending out secondaries. You are tweaking secondaries. Many of you have secondaries already written. So you're cross-checking the questions. You're adding new schools as you get secondaries submitted. We typically use the batching method, which means we're adding in 10 schools at a time, where, the first submission, you can add 10 schools, you can cross-check them, make sure everything is correct in the questions, submit those, add 10 more, cross-check everything, do some updating on writing, submit those. And over the month of July, just slowly roll out your 30 schools. You have the whole month of July to submit your secondaries. By note, you do not have to have your secondaries done within days of getting them. I would like you to follow the 2-week rule if possible, which is why we send them out in 10 batches of 10. When you add all 30 schools in at once, it's a little bit harder to stick to that 2-week rule because it's just a lot of work sometimes to rewrite secondaries when they change the questions. But if you add a school in, let's say on June 10th, and you turn the secondary around on June 20th, that looks really good for you. It looks like you turn the secondary around really fast. But if you add the school in on the first day and you can't get it done until June 20 or July 20th, it looks like you took 3 weeks to do the application, which looks just slightly worse. Not bad, but just not like we would want it to look like you did it faster. Does that make sense to everybody? Yes, Erin.
Yeah, quick question about the 2 week rule. Does that mean like max 2 weeks on a secondary?
No, I mean, that's the rule that the majority of people follow. Um, but yes, I would love for you to get them done in 2 weeks. In reality, have I had many, 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 many people who don't? Yes. But truthfully, there's
Okay,
no reason on earth you would not, Aaron, because you are working
true.
on secondaries right now. So this is for people who are like barely starting at this point. But you have been writing your secondaries and you are going to continue to write your secondaries throughout May and June. So you should have several secondaries at least half done by July. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I see a couple questions. So if you are getting your MCAT score on June 14th, they're not going to send you secondaries until your score comes out. Oh, no, you're fine. You can submit your app before June 14th. Sorry, I misread the question. So you can submit your app without your MCAT score. I would personally just submit your app with one school on your list just to get verified. And then as soon as you see your score, you can decide which 10 schools you're going to add in. Truthfully, not most people don't change their school list too much because most people have a sense of where their score is going to land. But yes, don't wait till June 14th just to submit your app because of your MCAT. You can submit it earlier than that. Okay, did I miss a question? Or oh man, do you have your hand up?
Just a quick question to follow off of Erin's. Do the med schools know that you added them in later? Like, can they see when you submitted your primary and then like that you added them in like a while after, or is it not that big of a deal?
I have no idea. I don't think so, but I
Okay.
don't know that it even matters.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
mean, I started using this method in 2000 and oh gosh, maybe 19. So I don't know. Somehow, some way, all my applicants have gotten into med school doing it. So I don't know how that happened. It's a miracle. Iris, do you have a question?
Yeah, so when you say that you're doing the batch method and that you're adding 10 schools, does that mean like right now as we're filling out the application, we just add one school to get verified on the 28th and
You
then we'll
can,
add
yeah,
more
like
schools
you.
after?
You can add schools at any point. So let's say you don't have your school is finalized or you don't know which secondaries you'll have done at that point. You really just need one school just to submit to get verified. Then let's say as you are working on, because most of you have a goal to finish your secondaries by the end of July, I assume. So let's say you take your 30 schools, divide them by the number of weeks left until the end of July, and you have a goal. I'm going to do like 3 to 4 schools a week. So as you pick out your 3 or 4 schools a week to write, as you get the schools done, each secondary that gets done, you can go add it into AMCAS. Because what's going to happen then, all the secondaries that are done, you'll get the emails for them. Now, if you have like 30 schools done, I still don't recommend adding all of them in because you're going to get overwhelmed very quickly with 30 emails. I still would just cap it at 10 for the first batch and then let the 10 emails come, cross check them against any new questions, update everything because you're going to have to write some things in July. And then once it's all done, submit ad schools, like keep it going. But you don't have to, you could do 10 at a time, 5 at a time, you could do 1 at a time. Everybody has a preference for like how they want to do it. I don't care if you want to do all 30. It doesn't affect my life in any way, shape, or form, except if you do add 30 and then you come to me the first or second week of July and you're having a meltdown, I'm not going to be nice about it. I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm so sorry. You're really overwhelmed because you got 30 emails at once. I'm going to say, I told you not to do that. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Um, any other questions?
Thank you.
Oh, no problem. I was talking to everybody. All these questions you guys are asking, I know everybody has the same questions. Okay, so we have 11 weeks and 5 days till the last week of July. Okay, so take your 30 schools. And if you want to get them done by the July 1st, which might be a little bit more ideal, then just divide them by whatever that is. Okay, this is very doable. If you think about 30 schools divided over 10 weeks, you know, 3 schools a week is doable. When you think about writing 30 secondaries, overwhelming. Am I right? So we're going to do this in chunks, little bite-sized pieces of writing. It keeps you guys under control. We don't get overwhelmed. So that's my suggestion. All right, so here's some fun facts about AMCAS. You do need to send every single transcript from every school you attended. So if you have grades on a transcript, you need to send the transcript to the school. Okay. They will not verify your application until every single transcript has arrived. So if you add the school into AMCAS, they're waiting for that transcript. At this moment in time, you can send transcripts. So you could add all your schools in and it'll give you a transcript ID number. We're going to see that page in a minute, and you can do that. Your letters of rec do not need to be in for verification. You need to add your letter writers into AMCAS. You must have at least one letter in AMCAS to submit it, and you have to assign that one letter to at least one school to submit it. So let's say all of your letters are not in yet. You just have to add one. You can add letters in throughout the process. You can add letters at any time, and you can release letters to schools at any time. So if you are really confused or overwhelmed at any point, you're like, I don't know, it's okay. Just do one school. We can figure it out over the month of June. But honestly, we have a whole month to figure this out. So, don't get too stressed out. Like if you're really stressed about the letter situation, just make an appointment with me and we'll talk about it together. But essentially one school, one letter just to submit, and then you can add them in later. Most people will add their letters in and then connect it to Interfolio later. They deal with that later. They just focus on getting AMCAS done right now. Your GPA that is going to get verified. So you cannot see your verified GPA until after your application is verified. So when you put all your courses in, you're not going to know what your GPA is. When you get your verified app and you open it for the first time, you're going to see your verified GPA. Heads up, it may be different than your college GPA. Very common for that to happen. And then the same thing for science GPAs. You may have calculated your science GPA down to the T, but they may have decided that a particular class wasn't a science class and take it out. That will change your science GPA. So try not to get emotionally attached to the numbers. The numbers often change, which then causes people a lot of stress when they see the numbers and it wasn't what they thought. And then the big question everyone gets is, should I protest this? Should I, call them? I personally don't think it's worth the fight. AMCAS is a big entity. They're not going to fight with you about it. They said what they said, and that's kind of it. So I would just, like I said, put it in. You have a general idea what your GPA is. If your GPA is so on the border that you don't even know if you should be applying because it's that low, then honestly, that's a different problem that we need to talk about, right? Like, this should not be such a factor. If one class is in or out, your GPA shouldn't be changing that much. Okay, I see two hands. Arslan?
I wanted to ask you about letters of recommendation. For the interfolio, like, would you recommend like sending the interfolio as soon as possible and like paying that $60 and just getting it in, or just submitting that one first letter and then trying to do interfolio later?
Yeah, most people just worry about Interfolio later. They add the school into AMCAS, or not the school. They add the letter writer's information into AMCAS now, and then deal with Interfolio after, when things calm down. Isabel or Bella?
So for transcripts, if we did a study abroad program, but it wasn't like with another university that was abroad, it was just like the UC
Yeah,
program,
you just send
don't
your UC
include.
transcript.
Okay, cool. Because it has like my grades from that on my
Yeah,
UC transcript. Okay.
exactly. So study abroad goes you just use your transcript. If you had taken courses abroad separate, that's a whole nother thing, and that becomes a problem because international coursework often isn't verified by GPA. I'm going to repost this what am I trying to say, AMCAS book, the handbook. I think you guys should all open this and read it. And you might notice now that you're in AMCAS, that AMCAS has a lot of really nice videos embedded in the application. So there is some great videos about study abroad and intern courses. Just take time and watch those. Super super helpful. Okay. Yes, Erin.
Sorry to bother, but
Oh.
so I'm confused about the letter I know it's not bother, but I'm confused about the letter evaluation because I have mine on Airfolio. So when I like go on the MCAS, am I like re-emailing or MCAS is gonna like re-email my letter writer?
Yeah. So before you do that, go to YouTube and watch the video on how to do Interfolio. There are people who have
Okay.
made really great Interfolio videos. Go with the one that has the most views. And it will tell you exactly. Now, you can also go to the Interfolio site and follow their instructions line by line. But essentially, what you're doing is you're not adding in your letter writer's email in AMCAS. Because as soon as you do that, they're going to get an email that asks them to upload it. So you're going to add the email that Interfolio gives you, and then you put that in as the email, and then Interfolio gets the email and says, hey, upload this letter.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. So, but you have to do something on the Interfolio side to get it to come over. So you can do that later, like at the end of the month. You don't have to worry about that today. Okay, this is the only change apparently in the application this year. They took away social justice and added community health, which I don't think is actually going to change too much for most of you. And I think that for a lot of you, you were doing community health anyway, so that makes a little bit more sense anyway. So that's no big deal. Any questions about that? Yes.
If we do have some social justice advocacy things, like it's fine to just add it as community health. Like,
If it
would
makes
that be
sense,
a
yeah.
one-to-one?
If it
If it
makes
makes
sense,
sense,
like
okay.
if it's a health experience, then yes.
No, but
If
if it's like not a health experience, but it's like somewhat political. Sorry.
I would put
Is it
other.
other? Okay,
Mhm.
okay, got
Yeah,
it.
I
Thank you.
mean, like it's perfectly okay to use other in an experience that you're just not sure. And the same thing goes for like a course classification. Not often, but like if you really have a course and you just can't for the life of you figure out where it fits in, there is that, I think it's like an other category. So it's not a big deal. If you have an HPAC letter that will submit on your behalf, should you still use? No, you don't need to use Interfolio if you have a committee letter. Your letter request should go to your school and they should upload your letters for you. Sorry, I always forget about committee letters. Okay, so we're going to go into AMCAS now. This is, it may look a slightly different. This is, I have an old version, but I don't think it looks too incredibly different. These are the parts of the application. So I'm going to just kind of bounce through the big parts that often cause the most questions. And then if you guys have more specific questions, just holler out. So the first thing you're going to do, like I said, and maybe some of you have already done this, is you're going to enter in your coursework. And you should see when you do that, that it adds a little transcript request form right here. So when you click on that transcript request form, it has a transcript ID number, which most of your schools should use the clearinghouse. What's it called? Oh my gosh. The big one now, the one that everybody is using. And you just go in there. Yes, thank you. You put your AMCAS ID number, you put your transcript ID number from this form, and usually it goes electronically. Usually it's there within 48 hours. It's very, very quick. People are always very surprised how fast it goes over. Yes, Mandy.
I did it today. Do you get like a notification or something to verify that AMCAS receives it?
Yes, you will. You'll see it in your application, and I think you'll get notified.
Okay, because when I sent myself the official ones, like you said, like within an hour, I got an email that was like, "Oh, Mandy has received it" or whatever. But
Mhm.
I haven't gotten it today, but I didn't know if like that was because
Well,
AMCAS doesn't do it or if it just takes a while.
yeah, you also have to remember that there's a lot of people doing this right now.
Yeah. Okay. But we
Yeah.
will get some sort of like verification just to
Mhm.
know. Okay.
Yeah.
Got
So
it.
Mandy's question just makes me want to remind all of you about the virtue of patience, which I know that many of you struggle with a tiny bit, a little in some ways. And so I just want to encourage you throughout this process. There are going to be many situations that are completely out of your control and maybe a little frustrating for you. And you have absolutely nothing you can do about it. You're just going to have to deal with it and you're going to have to be patient. Yeah. There are situations that like there may be a mistake in the like the whole process. Something like sometimes the whole system shuts down and nobody can log in for a day and everyone's like freaking out. Like when that happens, you don't have to call AMCAS and tell them the system is down. I bet you they've already gotten 4,000 application or emails or calls. So you don't have to be that guy, right? Like if something is wrong, just use it as a blessing and go do something else for a little while. It's okay. There's gonna be a lot of situations like that in life. Um, you're gonna have to let go a little bit. Yes, Arsalan, I see a question.
I actually did have a question on the topic of like when you're adding coursework. I heard that if you add coursework and it doesn't match one to one with your transcript, they sort of like send your whole application back and it delays you. Is that
Well,
true? And
you have
like,
to have 10
yeah,
mistakes. Yeah, that is true. You have to make 10 mistakes before they send your application back to you. In my 12 years, have never had a person have their application sent back. Please, you guys, do not let this be the year. Just here's the thing about transcript entry. I think people get really confused, frustrated, irritated about this because you guys are really smart and you want to apply some degree of critical thinking in this. And there's no critical thinking. It's literally copying. It's called transcript entry. So what you do is you take your transcript and you go line by line and you copy it into your application. So if the course has some wonky code like bio, sci, whatever, and you're like, oh, that's not the name of my class. My class was called Biology of Life. No, you can't put biology of life. You have to put the wonky acronym, whatever it is in your transcript. And that's where people get in trouble. So if you change the name of your class because you know it was a different name, that's a mistake. You do that 10 times and your app gets bounced back to you. So I will tell you over and over for the next month. And when I'm looking at when I do your final read through for your app, I don't always know what your transcript says, but I can tell if someone is putting some like full names because no transcript puts the full name of every class. Like they usually do some kind of shortened versions. So you are literally copying your course number, your course name, you're categorizing your course, you're giving it the grade that's in your transcript. You're putting every single course in your application. You don't get to pick and choose what goes in your app. You put every single class in there. If you have you put withdrawals if they're on your application, not your application, your transcript, sorry. Everything on your transcript goes in your app. So that means if you repeated a class, the original F or D goes in your application. Yes, they're going to calculate that into your GPA. There's nothing you can do about that. Someone asked, can I go over the transcript ID again? Can you clarify your question?
Yeah, I think I get it confused. So you get a transcript ID for each university and
Correct.
It's given to you by parchment or is it?
No. See how it says right here, like look on the screen, it says you have this person has 3 colleges, and then you click on that little link that says create transcript request form.
Oh, I see it. Yes,
It's
yes.
in the form. So when you click on that, it'll tell you what your transcript ID number is.
Okay, I get it now. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, I don't know why, but my mouse is acting. Oh, wait, there we go. Okay, let me chat questions. In this section, it asks what program type our school is: junior college, undergrad, postbac. Junior college is CC. I don't know why they call it junior college. So if I took a CC class in the summer that counts towards my UC, I am correct that it would be considered. No, so if you took a community college class, you would put that as a junior college because the class was at the CC. It doesn't matter if it transferred. You have to put your classwork in from the transcript that you got the credit. So if you took the class at a CC, you put it on the CC, you put it with the CC coursework. AMCAS doesn't care what transfers. That's like completely irrelevant to them. That's not a thing. All they care about is what classes you took at which college. Does that make sense? Okay, great. And you add the courses from newest to oldest. Not correct. You put the oldest to newest. So your very first courses that you enter into AMCAS are going to be your AP courses. So the first thing you do is enter your AP, then you enter your first year courses, then your second year, third year, fourth year. I'm going to show you in a slide how they break down the credits for that. Okay, just real quick, this is what it looks like in there. So you have your transcript ID number. You can see like it's asking you to put in your high school. You do not need a high school transcript. No, literally nobody cares about your AP coursework except for your mom. So med schools don't care about your AP courses. You can list them all out if it makes you feel happy. If you're using AP courses to satisfy prereqs, you probably want to list them out. There's absolutely no way they verify them. That's why most people don't use AP credit for coursework. But if you did, because that's all you did, that's what you had to do. Just list it out based on what's on your online portal for your college, but your college official transcript usually doesn't have the courses listed out. Just make sure the total number of units that you break out matches the total number on the official transcript. Does that make sense to everybody? Yes, Mandy.
If on your like college transcripts, it says like the class that you got credit for that was the equivalent of the AP, do you put in the AP class still or just that class that was like the substituted one, like intro to psych or something like that?
So when you put your AP credit in, you have 2 choices. Your first choice is to list like AP credit 12 units, and you don't have to list any coursework. So that's choice A, and people do that. Choice B is breaking out your coursework. And if you do that, then you would look at what course it satisfied, and you would put that under the course name for AP credit. So if you wanted to put psych, you would put psych and then probably 3 or 4 units. And that's what you would put.
Okay, got it. That makes sense.
So if you want them to see your AP coursework because it satisfies a prereq, then you would break it out. If you took a bunch of AP coursework and then you ended up taking all your prereqs in college anyway, and you know for a fact med schools don't care about your AP coursework and you don't feel like typing them all out, then you don't have to. You can just group them all together and just put the credit. And all of you will decide independently which of those two routes you're going to go. And I don't care personally which route you choose. So you guys figure that out and then do it the way you want to do it. The most important thing I want to stress to you is that your AP credit goes at the top. So put your AP credit in first before you start entering your college classes. Is your hand still up, Mandy, or you just give me a high five?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to take it
No
down.
worries.
Actually, based off of what you just said, just because I just started getting in there today, I know you said to put like AP stuff first. Can you like change stuff and move stuff around in
No.
AMCAS?
If you already started entering, you'll have to delete it all and start over.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
Yep. That's why I was kind of saying like, hey guys, don't start filling out until we go through this. But hopefully you didn't fill out all of your coursework already if you did it wrong. Okay. This is a question in AMCAS. It's at the like one of the first things they ask you. The answer should be yes. So the alternate contact is important because okay, I'm gonna unlock a new fear here in you guys. And I know this is a terrible time in our world to be telling you this. But med schools will call you for interviews and acceptances. And I know you probably get spammed with so many, like, I don't know what you get spammed with. I get spammed with like bank loans every day. But you are going to need to answer your phone this year. So sorry. So you are going to want to put an alternate contact because if you don't answer your phone and they are trying to reach you for something and they don't have another phone number to call, they're going to move on to the next person. And I know this happens because I used to do this all the time. So let's say I have a last minute interview and I'm trying to get someone to fill that spot like right now because I need to get this done because I'm trying to move on. I'm going to go down my list of people who are up next for interviews. I'm going to call them and the first person that answers their phone is getting the interview. So make sure you have multiple phone numbers in your application. If you're planning on grouping our credits, would we group AP and IB credit together? So IB typically, IB you got credit from an actual college, correct?
I honestly don't remember. I'd have to
Okay.
check.
Does anybody else who have IB credit, can you verify that you got credit from a college for IB? Because I thought you did.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I understand what you're asking now. I did get college credits for like
Okay, so
particular
you
IB
should
classes.
have a transcript from that college. Right?
It was part of my high school diploma. Sorry, maybe I'm not explaining this well. Like they were basically AP classes, but just taken through my school, but it was different credits that my college
Okay.
counted towards my credits.
Yeah, but the IB was not done for, it was not like through a community college or through another university.
Yeah, correct. It was through my high school.
Okay. Well, AMCAS doesn't really, as far as I know, as of last year, didn't have anything in there for IB. So I don't know. We'll have to look at that when we get to it. And I know you're not the first person to have IB credit. So the fact that I don't know the answer to the question makes me think that people either got like have their coursework listed on their application and they did get a transcript for it, or they did group it, but no one's ever told me that they grouped it. So I'll need to look at what you have. I'll need to look at your transcript to see to make sure it does not say that you have another college. Like if your official transcript says that you got IB credit from such and such, college, then you have to send a transcript.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll just have to check. Okay, so let's see. For alternate contact, what would you do if you don't have another phone number? You put someone in your life who can answer the phone. Grandmothers, mothers for some people, partners, best friends, anybody who will answer that phone, and if they hear it's a med school, will track you down and tell you to call them back. Sorry, Joanne, another question. It's okay. If I finished a med school prereq at a community college after I graduated from a UC, not during 4-year degree, then that would also be listed as junior college. It would, yeah, no. So that's post-bac and a community college. So it would be, yeah, it's post-bac. So anything after college is post-bac, period. Like, that's not really I'm surprised that you can't indicate the school as a junior college and that it's post-bac. It's surprising to me. But does that answer your question? Okay. Iris, you have a question?
Yes. So I did my post-bac, um, like I did like a post-bac program and then, but I took a summer class from that same institution before I started my post-bac program, like during the summer of while I was still in undergrad. Is that different? Do I have to like specify that? At this,
No,
it was at the same institution.
no.
Oh,
So you took a class in the summer before you graduated. Correct.
yes.
That just goes in your fourth year coursework.
Okay. Okay.
And then after you graduate, anything after graduation is post-bac.
But it wasn't at the, even though that summer coursework wasn't at the,
It doesn't matter. It's still in
okay.
your fourth year
Okay,
because
thank you.
it was before graduation.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay. Any last questions about coursework? And it's not like we can't come back to it. So if you think of something, I don't care if you ask me anything anytime. Doesn't matter. But if you do have questions, now's a great time to ask. Yes. Bella, go ahead.
Thanks. So sorry, just to confirm for the AP coursework, you're saying to put it under just like my undergraduate um degree, like when I'm entering my courses, I don't add another college as like my high school. I just put it all
Correct.
under one. Okay.
Exactly. I'm going to show you a page of the AP coursework here in a little bit. So
Okay. Thank you.
yeah, we'll see what it looks like. Okay. Oh, I see lots of hands. Okay. Erin, I think you're first.
Yeah. So with the I have a course that's like no credit. Is that count as a pass fail when you categorize it?
It depends on what it says on your transcript. So you just copy whatever it says on your transcript.
Okay, because yeah, it just has NC or like C
So
as
no
my like
credit
grade.
usually is like 0. You put 0 for the credits earned. And then for the grade, you put NC. The AMCAS people will investigate what NC means on your transcript and indicate they'll fix it on their end. So this is what I mean
Okay,
by no critical thinking.
sweet.
Don't try to figure out what to do about it. Just copy.
Let's go with me. Thank you.
Yep. Sabina?
Yes, I have a question. If you take any course in your high school, but you took that course from a university,
Mm-hmm.
should you and you get credit for that course when you do your undergrad? Should you show those course in the MCAS?
Yes. So every single college level class that you've ever taken in the history of your life, if you took college in 7th grade, you still put that in your AMCAS application, every college class. And you would just put it at the top because you did it first.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to move on. But if we have to come back to class quiz, that's okay. All right. So this is the kind of like the summary page. This is what it looks like in the application. You're going to enter it in on your end, and this is what they see. So there is a section where it asks you about languages, and I would encourage you to put all of the languages that you speak. There are varying spectrums of level ability, and just indicate honestly what that is. So but if you have any ability to speak or understand a language, I would add it. Don't undersell yourself here. And then they're going to ask you for a description of your childhood residence. So sometimes this is a problem for people because they moved around a lot and they don't know which one to put, and neither do I. So you get to pick. That's your choice. And you are going to put whatever you want to put there. There's no right answer because nobody on this earth knows where you lived besides you. And then for the state of residence, you're going to put the state that you identify with because there's no verification for that. So if you feel like you are whatever state resident and you have some evidence of that through an address, like let's say your parents live in one state and you live in another state and you feel like you want to apply as the other state, that's okay. Just put your parents' address in there. That's no problem. They're not going to go check your license or anything unless that state has really strict in-state residency. So like, let's say they have like one state school and they do care a lot about that. You may want to go get a license in that state before you matriculate, but generally speaking, it has not been a problem. So state of residence is typically like, how do I identify? I identify as a Washington state person. So underserved is self-reported. Typically, if you do not know if you lived in an underserved area, you would put your zip code into Google and it will tell you. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's just another thing that you can indicate. They're going to ask you for your family income. Do not say, I don't know. Just try your best to guesstimate what your family's income was. And this is primarily before the age of 18. So if you don't know, you can ask your parents. If that's not an option, then just guesstimate. But I would not put, I don't know, or choose not to disclose or whatever, because that indicates an sort of like an unwillingness to participate. And they want you to participate in their little game. And if you don't participate, then that kind of irritates them. So just put what you think is true as close as possible, and then put the total number of household in your house from 18 and below. And you should put if you received any kind of SNAP, free and reduced lunch, anything like that, Medicaid, anything that helps your family before the age of 18, yes or no. And then if you worked before the age of 18, yes or no. And then the big question is, did you contribute to your family? So what does that look like? Did you need to buy your own school clothes? Did you buy groceries for the house? Did you give money to your parents? If the answer is yes, make sure you put yes. Pell Grant, you should know that. And then if you have no idea how you paid for college, you could go ask for a financial aid package, or you can go look it up in an old email, or you can ask your parents, but just try your best to do this as accurately as possible. It's just asking you for a breakdown of how you paid for college. Does anybody have any questions about this page?
What do they use the financial information?
They use it for historic level of need, because if they use all of college graduates' current financial situation, everybody would be in poverty, right? Because most people coming right out of college don't have good jobs. So they want to know historically, did you come from a disadvantaged background? Now, if we're talking statistically speaking, more people get into med school who do not come from disadvantaged backgrounds. So if you're worried that because you did not come from a disadvantaged background that you're in some way disadvantaged, actually, statistically speaking, that would not be true. So people who get into med school, majority of them come from more advantaged backgrounds. So I don't think they discriminate based on that, based on what we see happening. So you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so this is the page, what it looks like when you are entering in your languages. I think I covered that pretty well. This is what it looks like when you're answering these questions, pretty straightforward. So this is what you're going to fill out. We talked about this already. Okay, so I think most of you know if you're doing this already or not. One thing that changed a couple of years ago was they added in the opportunity to indicate whether you were ever on institution, like had a academic probation or subject to dismissal. If you have an institutional action, I'm working with you and I don't know that yet, that's a major problem. I should already know this. So we should have already written something about this if you did. If you have an institutional action and you have failed to tell me about that at this point, you need to tell me that ASAP offline somewhere so we can get this figured out. But if you happen to have had a bad quarter or two or a semester or two, and you were on academic probation or a subject to dismissal, this is a great space to explain what happened. And we do want to do that. That's not a bad thing. So I have had people who have been completely kicked out of college get 8 or 9 interviews to med school and get into their top choice. So getting kicked out of college is obviously not a deterrent for getting into med school. You just have to be honest and reflective about that experience. And so having the space to do that is really great. Okay, when you enter your coursework, so again, this is, I wanted to point out these videos that you can see here. It is very, very clear, I think. I've watched some of these videos. They're very clear on how to do these things. If you are doing it and you are stuck and you're just like, I don't know what I'm doing, just make an appointment with me. We can go through it together. The number one question that people come to me with in May is not that they can't figure out how to copy their courses, it's that they don't know how to classify their courses. So there is the course classification guide that I saw Erin posted, but even so, people still get really like, I don't know. I don't want to say they get confused. I think what happens more often is that people want to push the limits a little bit and they want to classify things as science or not, when maybe it's not science. Or they're just not sure if a class is social science or, I don't know, humanities. And the truth of the matter is it doesn't even matter. Like nobody's going to be analyzing this to the degree that you are analyzing this. So however you classify your courses is fine. Just make sure that you're not putting too many non-science classes as science, because if you put a non-science class as science and they disagree with you, that counts as a mistake. So I'll give you a couple hints. Abnormal psychology does typically pass through as science. If you have a biochem class that's out of the nutrition department, that often does make it through as science. Straight nutrition like 101 does not usually make it through. Most psych classes do not make it through besides abnormal. If it's a neuroscience or cognitive science class, if it has the word science in it, it often will make it through. So you just have to be selective. But sometimes people will take seminars in the College of Biological Sciences, and they know they didn't really do science in that class. It was more of like a discussion class, and they'll say, well, it was in the biosci department. Can I put it as science? Then my question becomes, isn't that class pass, no pass? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, then why are we discussing this? Who cares? Just put it as non-science. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if a class is science or non-science. And nobody cares. Just put it as non-science if it's pass, no pass, because it doesn't affect anything. It's not helping your GPA in any way. So why even like spend a minute thinking about it? Just if there's a question about whether it's science or non-science, the question is probably because it affects your GPA. If it does not affect your GPA, no question. Doesn't matter. Nobody cares. I know you guys care a lot, but truthfully, nobody else cares besides you. The med schools, the people reading this, they're reading this so fast. They're not going through your whole coursework, like analyzing this. They're just looking at your classes, the names of them. They're looking at your grades. They're looking at your overall GPA. This is all happening in a matter of seconds. And then they're moving on to the more interesting stuff, which is like your personal statement, right? That's what you want. You don't want them hovering around your grades too long, right? I thought I'd get a little bit more of an uproar for that. Yes, absolutely. We do not want them hovering around our grades. Many of you did really well, so it's not an issue, but there's just more interesting things about you than your grades. Okay, let's keep going. So this is just, I took this straight out of AMCAS in terms of like how they calculate GPAs. This is why the GPA calculation often differs from your school, because they standardize everybody. So even though your school may do something different with pluses and minuses or whatnot, but they basically standardize it for everybody. And so that's why your GPA will differ when you get your official verified GPA. Okay. This just shows you what it looks like when you copy it in. So your academic year is obviously like freshman through senior. However, when you enter your courses in, it's not based on your literal year. It's based on the credits earned. So if you're coming into college with like, let's say 30 AP credits, it's probably putting you at a sophomore year standing faster. So even though it was your first year of college, your units are going to reflect your second year. So when you put your AP coursework in and you put 30, you're basically bumping yourself up a year, which, the good and the bad thing about that is it impacts your GPA. Not your GPA, it impacts your grade trend. For some of you, if you have like a 3.9, it doesn't. You got A's all over the place. It doesn't matter. But if some of you, it may impact your grade trend. So if you had, for example, entered your courses into like some kind of GPA calculator, and you were looking at it in terms of your literal first, second, third, fourth year, it will not be like that in AMCAS. So you're going to put your term, your semester or quarter, and you can indicate whether your classes are semester and quarter. And then it says course number and course name. So your course name is what you're copying from your transcript, like biosci, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes people take really cool seminars that are like the life cycle of a squid, and then the course name on your transcript is like directed group study, and you're like, no, it was such a cool class, I want to put the squid name, but you can't. You just have to put the real name. Yes, Mandy, I see a question.
For like the high school dual enrollment classes or summer programs, do those count towards freshman year?
Yeah, so
Like
everything
attendance
you
and
did
everything?
prior to college goes at the
All
top
goes to
of your,
freshman year.
yeah,
Okay.
everything goes at the top of your, everything prior to college goes at the top of your list.
Okay. And
That's
that,
why it's important it goes at the top of your list.
okay, got it. That makes sense. So all of that impacts your like academic standing.
No, it impacts the way, here, let me see. Okay, this is what it impacts. So they will see it broken out like this. They're going to see your freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. So your units are based on the number of units. So let's say your freshman year, you came in with 25 units of AP. You're really only having like 3 units of real classwork. That's indicating your GPA, right? So that's what it does. This person happened to have graduated in 3 years. That's why they don't have a junior year. But let's say you came in with, let's say hypothetically, you came in with 30 units of AP credit, and then you stayed an extra unit or extra semester. So you stayed 4.5 semesters. So your senior year, everything after your senior year credit cap goes into your senior year. So if you stayed 4.5 or 5 years in college, the credits or the hours for your senior year are going to be way bigger than the rest of them. Everything just goes into your senior year until you graduate, and then it becomes post back.
Got it. That makes sense. Thanks.
Yep. So we like to look at the grade trend because we want our grade trends to go up. If your grade trend goes down, it is a problem. It becomes a problem. I would argue that's probably one of the biggest reasons why I see people struggling to get into med school is because their grades went down, not up. Hypothetically, you should have gotten better at college, right? Now, that's not to say that like your sophomore year, you had a sophomore year dip. So let's say you had a 3.6 your freshman year, and your sophomore year, it's a 3.4, and then it jumps back up to a 3.7. It's okay. That's okay. No problem. But you can't be like 3.7, 3.6, 3.5, 3.4. Like that would be bad. Make sense? Okay, I'm going to go back to the AP coursework real quick. So this is what it would look like. Your school name, your freshman year, the school year, quarter 1, your course, how you classify it, the course number, which is copied from your transcript. This person chose to break out their coursework. So they typed in for the course name, this is what they typed in. And you can put whatever you want. You could put advanced placement. You can put, this is what they chose to put. And then you put course type AP. And then you just put the number of units you got for that particular class, which you should find on your unofficial transcript or on your online portal when you're looking at your courses. When I used to work at the university, I would do like decision day days, and I would talk to like a room of 500 parents at a time and tell them their AP coursework didn't matter anymore. Oh my God, they would lose their minds. Absolutely lose their minds. They'd be yelling at me, all of it. It was wild. So, any questions about this?
Are we able to not have like
Like
our
take out your AP credit?
yeah.
That's a great question. And we have talked about this. So if you take your AP credit out, you just don't list it. I actually don't think anything terrible is going to happen to you. The worst thing that could happen is they count it as one mistake and they put it back in. But I think people have done that in the past. I don't have an example in my head, but we have actually had this conversation before. And I think some people have said, like, I don't want my credits to be skewed that way, so I'm going to leave it out. You can always call AMCAS and ask them if you want to be 100% super clear that that's possible. But that's what I would recommend is like call and ask. But I think that that's a thing we've done. Bella, you have a question?
Yeah, this might be I might have to ask my school about this, but if we don't see like credit hours, I just have like the number of credits. Do you know how to calculate that, or is that
You would go
case
look at
by
the
case?
credit. You would look at the credit, like just go look in the school catalog for like whatever class it is. Um, are you saying like you chunked them and you just don't know how many credits you got?
No, I just mean like on my transcript, like it doesn't give us the credit hours. It's just like the
Well, that
number.
actually could work to your advantage. You could put 0,
Oh, okay. Like
and
for
then it
all of
won't,
them?
and then it won't affect, and then it won't affect your freshman year.
Okay. But
Because
like
if it's,
for,
go ahead.
I don't know, maybe I'm just like not really reading my transcript correctly, but like I don't think they list them as credit hours. It's just like credits. I'm just confused between like what
Oh,
hours means and just
oh, okay,
regular
sorry.
credits.
Okay, so credits, hours, and units, same thing.
Oh, okay, okay. Just making
Yeah,
sure. Thank you.
all
Because
over the
quarters get kind of
country.
weird.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I should have said that. So all over the country, different people use this different words for the same thing. So if you see a school that says any of those words, credit, unit, hours, exact same thing.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Wait, does someone have a hand up? Just, I think I see Aaron. Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, so just to clarify that last question. It's so points are different, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's not credits.
No.
Sweet. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we talked about this. So if you had post-bac work, it goes into your overall undergrad GPA. If you have a master's degree, it does not touch your overall undergrad GPA. It reports as a separate line. So you could have a 2.99 undergrad GPA and a 4.0 graduate degree, but they're still screening on the 2.99. So you'll need to, if that is your situation, you would need to call some of the schools if they don't send you a secondary and ask for them to manually send it to you. Okay, so this is the breakdown of credits. So you would enter coursework up to 35 units as your freshman year. And then the next 36 units would be your sophomore year. And everyone's always like, well, what if it lands on a class? Do I go up or down? I would go down because 36 is sophomore. So this is how you report out your years. Now, if you mess this up and they'll just fix it for you, but just try to like follow along the guidelines to the best of your ability. Any questions about that? Yes, Mandy.
Sorry, do
No
the
worries.
pass fail classes or like those seminars you were talking to where you get no credit, like, or
So if
no
it says
grading?
0 credit, if it says no credit or 0 credit, you put 0 towards the credit and they should not count towards this.
Like for mine, it says 1 credit, but like pass fail, like it just went towards.
That's 1 credit.
Okay, so even though it's not graded, it counts
Correct.
towards these hours. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
thank you.
Yep. Other questions? I think this throws a lot of people off. I don't think a lot of people expect this. So I would not be surprised if you have questions.
Yeah, I'm so confused. With this because like I get it, but like so are we you said that we're adding up the credits, right?
Mhm.
As we
Yep.
go. And then like for me, I think I took 5.5 years to graduate and like I did some weird stuff with my credits and stuff.
Mhm.
So I was technically
So
how does
you
that work?
might have
Because I
technically been a sophomore
yeah.
by the time you started at your college. Like, let's say, like, I'm gonna do a different. Like, let's say someone had taken a lot of college classes in high school. They would have probably all the pre-college high school work they did might have just been their freshman year. And then they started their sophomore year when they actually started their 4-year college. Does that make sense?
I see. Yeah, it makes sense. So like if for me, like who I took like more like the minimalist units I could take. Like I was technically a sophomore, but I could have been also like, or I technically was a junior, but I'd be like under a sophomore credit.
Correct. So
Okay.
AMCAS doesn't care what you were in college. They're purely basing this on number of credits. So if you came into college with a lot of credits, then you're gonna be grouping all of that pre-work into your freshman year up to 35. And then as soon as you hit 36, you're gonna roll it over to your sophomore year. You're gonna label it sophomore and so forth. If you were in school for 5.5 years, then probably more than a year and a half is going to go towards your senior year.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
Thank you, Joanne.
No problem. Does that make sense to everybody? Again, when you're actually doing it and you're like, if you have questions, you just make an appointment like you all do, and we'll go through it together. We'll make sure everything makes sense. This is obviously not the last time we're going to talk in the whole month. So no worries, like if this is at all confusing to you. Okay, so most of you are going to add or have a major that's already in the application system. But if you happen to not have a major in the application system, you're going to just type in your major. And then you can declare a minor if you have one. And same thing, if you need to type it in, I think you can type it in for a minor as well. AMCAS and MCAT and Preview are the same people. They all sit in the same room together. They all schmooze. So you don't have to report anything in terms of MCAT or Preview for AMCAS. Everything just goes in there. All of your tests, future tests, scores, everything automatic. However, if you are taking Casper does need to get released to AMCAS. It actually does not go to AMCAS. It goes directly to the schools. I do not know why I just said that. So Casper, you actually don't have to do anything. When you add your schools in, it goes directly to the schools. But Preview, you do not have to worry about that. Let's see, what else can I tell you about this? Everything is in AMCAS in terms of your scores. The last 3 years of MCATs appear. A lot of schools only accept the last 3 years, so any tests prior to the last 3 years typically don't show up in their application. So that's maybe good if that applies to you. All right. This is just what it looks like on their end. You can see the percentiles and everything. Nothing too exciting. This is what it looks like when you copy your personal statement in. If you read that book that I sent you, it actually says in the book that you're supposed to type your personal statement into AMCAS. That is a little bit true. That was true a few years ago. I don't think it actually is necessary anymore. I think because people use Google, Google has gotten rid of like the HTML that used to show up as weird characters on the other end. I asked one of my admissions friends if they still see weird characters on the personal statement, and he said no, they don't see that anymore. So I think since we kind of stopped using, because back in the old days we used to use Word docs, and Word docs must have had HTML in them, which then made the characters show up weird on the other end. It was a whole thing. But I don't think this is really the case. So I think you can copy and paste your personal statement into AMCAS and you should be fine. If you're just really neurotic and you just must follow the rules, then you can type it in. That's fine. I'm going to read through it anyway when we do our final read through. We don't want any mistakes. You cannot change your personal statement after you submit it. So no mistakes in your personal statement. Okay. Just some things about the experience descriptions. I know a lot of you have seen this before because we've done this in different sessions. But when you enter in your experiences, you can put date ranges, you can project your dates out into the future. You're going to need to put either a phone number or an email for your contacts. You can put yourself if you were the main contact for your hobby or whatever. Putting yourself is perfectly fine. And it like this person down below in the snowboarding, she did so many hours of snowboarding. She has no idea how many hours she did. So she just gave him the signal, which when I see 9999, I'm thinking like, you did a lot of hours. I don't know how many I did, but I did a lot. That kind of says that to me. I don't know if that says that to you, but that's what she did. It worked out okay for her. Just some more examples like People often ask, who should they put as the contact for honors and awards? You could put your advisor or your dean of your college, or you can put yourself. And for hours, any amount, it doesn't matter. You can put 1 to 100. It doesn't matter, right? It's just an award. And so if you're going to put future hours in the application, you're going to put the current month, and you're going to put so May 1st to May 30th. And then for the future hours, the next line, you're going to put June to June of the next year, or whenever you plan to quit. A lot of people quit their jobs in between after they've applied. And no, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to go in and update it. You don't have to email them. But if you do get an interview at the school, I would encourage you to send an update email prior to the interview, just to let them know of your plans, or your changes, I should say. But if let's say you change your job, I would not, unless you have another job. Like if you switch jobs, like you go from one job to another, then that would be an update. You can email them and update them and tell them about the new job. But if you just quit your job for some reason, I would not email them and tell them you quit your job. That doesn't seem like a very impressive email. So we're going to just wait till you get a new job or a new thing, or just don't tell them at all until it comes up naturally. Does that make sense? Okay, I see your hand, Mandy.
I just have two quick questions. The order that you enter the activities doesn't matter, right? It's like chronological.
It doesn't matter because they can sort them in 2 or 3 different ways.
Okay. Okay, got it. And let's say that you're like doing a hobby or an activity that you think you're going to continue in med school, you still put the end date, like the anticipated end date you said, like for June or July.
Of the next year.
Okay, perfect. And you said for activities, it's fine to copy and paste too, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Obviously, no links here. Nothing works like that. Also, italics don't work. Bolds don't work. Basically, nothing besides what you see, just basic text. There's no indenting in AMCAS. We use double spaces for everything. I don't remember. I think I just wanted to show you what it looked like for the most meaningful, that it's actually 2 different boxes, but most of you know that. Okay, so letters of rec. So when you go in to start entering them, some of you are using a committee letter. You'll know if your school has a letter packet versus a committee letter. You should know. And then, or you're using an individual letter. And if you're using individual letters, which I know some of you are, this is what I'm talking about, where it's like, you can add the person's name, but you are going to need to like check out Interfolio eventually, but you can do that last. You just need to have them in there before you submit. You need to have 1 letter added, but you can add them all in. It truly doesn't matter. So some people are like, I want to get it over with. I'm going to get them all in there and just be done. And some people are like, no, I'm too stressed out. I'm going to wait and do it later. It doesn't matter to me, as long as they all get in there by July. So here is the page that matters. So when you first log in to add your letter writers, there is going to be a little box that's all by itself, and it says letter title. And this is where everybody wants to put letter from Dr. Smith, because that makes sense. It's like labeling the letter, and everybody does that. And they put yes, and then it's going to ask you for the organization name. It's also going to ask you for a salutation. So it's either like Dr., Mr., blah, blah, blah. But here's what I would do. So skip the salutation. At the end of the last name, put comma and put their degree. So if it's MD, PhD, DO, whatever it is, put the letters after their last name. That's way more helpful than just putting doctor. Because when I see doctor, I don't know what kind of doctor they are. I mean, technically, I have a doctorate and I'm doctor, but that doesn't mean, the same thing. So I would do that instead. And then don't do both, though. That's weird. For the letter title, we're actually going to put the person's job title. And that's going to feel really weird to you, because AMCAS actually tells you not to do that. Well, it doesn't tell you not to do that. It just tells you to do it the wrong way. But I'm going to show you why we're going to put the job title. So this is what it looks like to the med schools after you have entered everything. So if you use the salutations, this is what it looks like. Dr. Daniel Nurko. I have no idea. I'm assuming Dr. Nurko is a PhD, but this person put recommendation from Dr. Daniel Nurko. So now I have Daniel Nurko, Daniel Nurko, Department of Chemistry. Department of Chemistry is not even the institution. So what this should have been Daniel Nurko, comma, PhD. Letter title, Associate Professor of Chemistry. Institution, UC Davis. That's how it should have read. But this person didn't do it right. And this looks, in my opinion, a little silly or sloppy. It's not a major issue. I mean, they got into med school nonetheless, but still, if you want to make your old advisor happy, you could do it, make it look a little bit better. And so down below, this is a little bit better. I would have just added their letters after their name. So if this person had a doctorate, I would have put Dustin Smith, comma, MD. They did put their letter title correct. So they put associate professor, they did family medicine, and they put the institution. I'm assuming it says attending physician. So she definitely has an MD, right? So we're going to put the letters after the last name in the letter title box. We're going to resist the urge to put the name of the person. We're going to put their job title. So don't just put professor, because in colleges it matters. Like you can't just put professor. Professor is like the highest rank. So you want to look on their website and just make sure, are they assistant professor, associate professor, or professor? If you call someone a professor, but they're not a professor, it's going to be like, I don't know. It's a big deal. I learned this when I worked at universities. So make sure you put the right title, their actual real title. And then the institution is, of course, the college or the practice name or whatever it is. Yes, I see a hand.
Yes, what if your professors have retired?
That's okay. You would still put the institution in which you knew them. You could even put retired in parentheses if you want to indicate that that's the situation. Okay, does this make sense to everybody? Okay, I need you to give me a thumbs up that you're going to try your best not to do it wrong. Okay, great. Because even though when I'm reading your final read through, if you do it wrong, I'm not going to tell you did it wrong because I don't want to make you feel bad, but it's going to irritate me. So if you can just do it right when we get to this page, I'm going to be so happy. And I'll tell you, I'm so happy that you did it right. And if everybody does it right, it just makes me happier. Yes, Iris.
So just to clarify what you all just said, the letter title is their like what they are, like their job.
Yes.
And then we put their name. And then for the institution, if they're not affiliated with the school, do we just put the hospital name or do we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Hospital, clinic, whatever it is, organization.
Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
Like on the last slide where it said, are they affiliated with a school or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the institution or there's another part for that?
No, I don't think, I think it's another section where you enter the school's information.
Okay, so if it's like a doctor you shadowed and you know they're like a professor at a med school technically or something like that, would you put yes to that here or you just list their like doctor's office in the institution part?
When you go to do that and you click yes, let me know what it says.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks.
I think that because you didn't know them through this school, my instinct is to not put the school because
Yeah, makes sense.
that wasn't your relationship, but then I want to see what it says when you click yes.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Joanne.
Okay. All right, so at the last page, it's going to ask you to certify all these things. So make sure you read these. It does ask you that ask that you didn't use, I think this needs to be updated because I know now it has a lot of stuff about AI. So hopefully, since you're all working with me, you're not using AI. I would really hope that that's the case. And I hope you're not putting my writing that I'm helping you with into AI. That would not be good. So hopefully not. Just click all these buttons, make sure you read them. And okay, yeah, that's that. So after you submit your application, you cannot make any changes except for this stuff. Yes, Iris, I see it.
Sorry, kind of going back to the letter writers. It says to put a phone number.
Mhm.
What if you don't have their phone number?
Just go to like, is it like a professor?
Um, well, I don't have, it's also like my doctors that are writing.
Okay,
Like
so you can just
everyone.
put the main phone number for the institution, like if they're a professor and whatever, you can just put like the department phone number, or if they're a doctor, just put the main office phone number.
Thank you.
Mhm. So after you submit, you can change any of this stuff. You can change your address if you move. You probably should. Oh, I should tell you this because everybody does this wrong too. In the first page, I should have made that page. There is a box that says your legal name and then it says your preferred name. Everybody usually puts their full name as their legal name, but then for the preferred name, don't just put your whole full name there again, because that's the name that's going to go on name tags. So if your name is like Lauren Elizabeth Smith, and then for the preferred name, don't put Lauren Elizabeth, because then you're going to have a Lauren Elizabeth on your name tag. So if you go by, let's say your name is Lauren Elizabeth and you go by LE, put LE for your preferred name. Whatever you go by is what you should put for your preferred name. Make sense? You don't want to show up to a place and have them calling you the wrong thing the whole time.
So you
So,
just you
hmm?
just have it blank if you don't have a preferred name.
No, you just put your first name.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So if you go by your first name, you just go by your first name. Or you can put your first and last name, but like you know what I'm saying. Like don't just like make your whole name. Like don't make it so formal because that's kind of strange to put your middle name and your preferred name. It's going to ask you if you want to release your application to your pre-health advisor. That is not me. I do not have access to that data because I don't work at an institution like that. So it will go to your college advisor. I don't see any harm in doing this. It just, you're more than likely going to get into med school. It just makes your school look better. They usually have to track and report data on who gets in. So you're just making your college look better when you get into med school. So there's no harm in doing that. You can let your college professor or college advisor take credit. Questions about anything that I have said?
On mine, the preferred name thing, you like can't edit it. It's like stuck, I think, like based off of your AMCAS profile.
Well, you can go edit your AMCAS profile.
Okay, so should we take our middle names out of there? Like on the actual profile?
I have seen people have different names in both.
Okay.
I don't know how they did it, but they did do it.
Okay.
Maybe go back to your AMCAS profile and see if there's a preferred name box there that you can change.
Okay. Sounds good.
Iris, you have a question?
Yes. Going back to letter writers, what's interfolio? Like is that
Yeah. Interfolio is a site. Wait, do you have individual letters or committee packet?
I have individual letters.
Okay. Are you applying MD and DO or just MD?
Both.
You're doing both?
I think so.
Okay. If you're doing both, so people who say they're only doing MD, I don't tell them about Interfolio because there's no reason to do it. But if you are doing both, then Interfolio is like a storage unit where you would create an account and you can add your letter writers in there and they upload the letter into there and then you can connect that to both AMCAS and ACOMAS. It just basically lets the letter writer upload the letter just once instead of having to upload it in two different apps.
So hypothetically speaking, if I applied again next year, I would just go to Interfolio and recycle those letters.
If yes, you'd have to let them know that you're doing that. And most people want the letter writers to change the date on it. So you would end up having them re-upload it anyway. But Iris, I'm really concerned about your lack of faith in me at this moment.
I'm sorry. It's not you. It's not you.
Well, let's just not talk about that right now, okay?
Okay, thank you.
No problem. A lot of people use Interfolio because it is easy. It's not super expensive, and it just, yeah, it does give you access to your letters next year. You should not see your letters. I mean, some people do write their own letters, and some people have their letters, but technically speaking, you're not supposed to have your letters. So the Interfolio does keep them from you. The other thing Interfolio does that's really nice is they check the letters for signatures and letterhead, which there's no other way to do. If you happen to not use Interfolio and someone uploads a letter that is not signed or on letterhead, then AMCAS, the med schools can actually send it back to you and say, hey, you need to have this person re-upload the letter. Yes, Charles.
Okay, you brought up letterhead, and I'm running into this situation with one of my retired professors. They just don't have access, according to them, to their institution's letterhead. So I was looking around, and it said that they can use their own personal letterhead. Would that be
Yeah.
an issue, even though
Yeah, they maybe if they do they know how to make letterhead?
they're a little old? I think
Okay.
that's
So what you could do if you want to be nice is maybe you can help them. You can maybe create a Google Doc that, or however, ask them how they're writing the letter, whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. Ask them how they're writing the letter, and then maybe you could make a file for them and then just help them copy and paste the letter into that document.
Oh, like make the template, the
Yeah,
letterhead,
maybe
and
you
send
can
it
make
to them.
it for them.
Okay, sounds good. But it's still okay for them to use their personal letterhead, even though
Yeah, that's
you give
better
them a
than
doc.
nothing. Mhm.
Okay.
I
Okay,
mean, that's
great.
what some people have to do. Okay, other questions about anything? Yes.
This is kind of like a random and unique one, but if I was trying to find like my high school, but I went to an all girls high school, and we had like an all boys school right across the street, and they only list the all boys school, but not the all girls school. Should I just put other in that case, or do I put the all boys school and then in the section where it says like if it's incorrect, please change?
Hold on, hold on. So you're talking about for which part?
Just like the very
Where you list your
beginning.
high school?
Yeah. Like
Well,
it
they're
doesn't
not
automatically
verifying.
come up.
Oh, I see, because you search for it.
Yeah. It's not one of the options. There's only the all boys school.
That's interesting. You could maybe at this point, since you have time, you could email AMCAS and indicate that this is an additional high school that maybe that wasn't added originally. You can say like, this is my high school. Here's the address. Here's, give them some evidence, give them the website, and just be like, can you add this into the thing? If
Okay.
you want to do that.
Just email
If you
them.
don't want to deal with it, then you can just do the boys one. But it seems like if it's a quick email, you can send to AMCAS. You can see if you maybe can change the system.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Other questions? Yes, Jenny?
So when like I already wrote impeccable experiences, that's like 1,000 like 325 character. Is that the other impactful experience that's listed?
The other impactful experiences, what did you say you wrote?
Impactful
Yeah,
experience?
yeah, yeah, that's the same thing.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I'm reading these comments on the side too. Other questions about anything?
Yeah, quick question about the photo. Do you need to attach a photo on your primary, or is that secondary?
Secondaries.
Okay. Sorry, I'm getting it mixed up with Texas. You can attach a photo in primary.
Yeah, and any photo, any headshot is fine. It doesn't need to be professional. Like what you have right now in your profile would be totally fine for what we're doing. Some people want to do more like of a profile, like a torso up with like wearing a suit jacket. That's totally fine. Just have somebody take a picture of you in front of a nice clean wall, and that's good. I do not think going and paying for a portrait at this point is going to make a big difference. Erin, you have a question?
Yeah, I have another course question. So like if I have a research like credit under my course and it was like chemistry research, can I like be sneaking in kind of as chemistry or should I just do it as other? Because it's technically not under any of the categories.
I'm sorry, I was listening to you, but it didn't process. Can you say it again?
No worries. So I have on my course like undergraduate research and it was chemistry research. And can I categorize that as chemistry or since it's like research is not
Well,
categorized, it would count like
so
technically as an other, like, and I'm being
yeah,
sneaky, so I was just wondering how sneaky I can be about that.
yeah. So the thing is they have no information aside from the course name that you enter in. So does the course name just say like research seminar or something like that?
Yeah, it just says undergraduate research, direct
So
research, and it has like I think the code or what is it called? The course number has chem. That's the
yeah.
only thing
So
that can be, yeah.
yeah, if it's from the chem department, you can try to put it as science.
Okay, cool. I'll try. Thank you.
Yep. Um, and is it pass, no pass?
Oh, with mine?
Mm-hmm.
No, it gave me a grade.
Okay. Yeah, if it's out of the chem department, they can see that. It should be okay.
Okay, sweet. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, Bella or Isabella?
I just want to make sure. So for the verification process, they really are just verifying your grades. So I
Yeah,
could, in theory, just submit my application only having listed one school and only having one letter of rec and then
that's correct.
adding things. Okay, thank you.
Yep, that is literally all verification means. It's making sure you copied your coursework into the application correctly. The AMCAS people truly don't care what the school's requirements are. So letters of rec are a school requirement. They just want to make sure that the GPA is accurate. Iris?
Going back to the letter of rec. So now that we have done the little MCAS party, is it a good
Was it
time?
fun?
So is it a good, so should we send that official letter through MCAS to them or do you recommend waiting until I figure out Interfolio or
Are you saying should you request your letters of rec right now?
no like so they already my like letter writers know that they're writing me a letter of rec, but the link, should I
Yeah.
send it today? Or
Yeah,
like
I mean, the thing is if you add them in AMCAS today, great. They'll get the email and that's fine. If you decide later you want to do a comus and you add them into a comus, they're going to get another email and they're uploading it there. It's if that's not a big deal to you or them, then that's the worst case scenario.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yes.
Hey, I'm so sorry if I'm beating a dead horse. I just wanted to confirm if I was planning on applying 2 cycles ago and all of my letters are signed in Interfolio from 2 years ago, is this a problem? Like, should I be reaching out to all these people individually? Because I'm not even sure a couple of
Yeah.
them
Well,
have active emails.
yeah.
I don't know.
I'm surprised we didn't talk about that before. So your letter, here's what I would do if I were in your situation. I would just shoot them all an email and say, "Hey, I'll be submitting my application this month. I thank you so much for agreeing to let me use your letter. If you happen, like, would you have time to update the date and re-upload it?" And if they respond to you and say yes, great, do that. If they don't respond to you or they say no, I don't have time, then just do it. But They all know you're using their letter, correct?
Yes, correct.
So hopefully if you let them know that, hey, that I realized today, or you can blame it on me, my advisor just told me my letters need to be updated. I didn't realize that, would you be willing to do that? Y'all are welcome to throw me under the bus every time. I don't care. But you can ask them and see what they say. I would say go for it before you just upload all 2-year old letters.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Mandy?
I just had a quick follow-up to Erin's question just to make sure that I'm doing this right. You said that if we took research like the same class for like multiple semesters, it's fine to just keep re-entering it the same way
Yes, that's
every
very
time.
common.
Wait, sorry, what did you say?
That's very common.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure like you were allowed to list it more than once and they don't think that you're like, but they could see it on the transcript every semester, right? So it's
Exactly.
okay.
It actually needs to match your transcript exactly. So if you choose not to list it because you just think it's wrong to list it multiple times, you're going to get dinged because that's a mistake.
Okay, perfect. And like with the thing you were saying about the years, like could it be the case that like your classes are messed up? Like that like two of the researches would be in like the same year? Or like they don't care about that?
I mean, all they have to work with is your official transcript.
Okay, got it.
I don't know how it could be messed up. I don't quite understand that part. But they're not, I don't know. Maybe I don't understand your question, or I think that we're overthinking it, perhaps.
Yeah.
We're just literally copying it from your official
Okay.
transcript.
Yeah. I
I
just
think
meant
that's
like the
where,
year.
yeah, I think that's where like the critical analysis comes in. There's no critical thinking.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense.
I see a lot of people dropping off. So I'll stay as long as you guys need me to. I just want to, if you guys need to go, thank you for coming tonight. I hope it was helpful. Please, keep working. And if you have any questions, make an appointment and we will go through it together. Don't worry, don't stress. Like it's all going to get done. We have a whole month. Okay. So I hope the AMCAS party was fun for you. And if you need anything, I am here for it. Okay. No problem. All right, I see some hands. Mira, you have a question?
Yeah, sorry if I had to like drop off from it, so I apologize. It was in my chat in the chat if you'd already answered it. But um, you mentioned the state of residence, they don't actually verify it. So the thing is, for me, because I'm like in New York during like the first part of the application cycle, I may go back to California. It's kind of up in the air right now. Um, would it be okay if I put New York as my state of residence in that case?
Yeah, I mean, you have an address there.
I do.
You do know that if you put New York as your state of residence, you're going to have a hard time getting into California schools.
Okay. Yeah, because that's the thing. It's like I yeah, it's kind of a tough call because it's like I am here right now, but it's also that yeah, I went to high school in California, undergrad in California. All my ties are there, so
You need to pick the state where you want to go to med school.
okay. Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Um Also, I know you mentioned, I will double check this on course classifications, but for epidemiology, is that BCPM or would that be like health sciences?
It'd be health sciences.
Okay, I thought so. I just wanted to check. Okay, thank you.
Mhm. All right. I think Mac, you have your hand up?
Yes. Can you just explain again? Let's say I have all my letters in Interfolio. What's the process from there? Do I need to reach out to a letter writer that's already submitted to Interfolio?
Oh, no, they're done. So what I would do first is go onto Interfolio's website and they have very detailed instructions on how to connect it to AMCAS. If you can't figure it out from Interfolio, go to YouTube. There are people who break it down very slowly and will go through every single step with you. I used to try to do it and then I realized YouTube, someone already did it much better than I do. So I just send you there because there's like a couple videos that have like 1 million views. Just go with the one that has the most views, watch it, go step by step together, and you should like you're very smart, Mac. I know I've worked with a lot of people and everyone figures it out pretty quickly.
Excellent. And then one
Worst
more
case, you
question.
can't figure it out, we'll do it together, okay?
Great. Then there's a question about there's the potential where the way they organize courses just
Mm-hmm.
based off the number of credits you've already taken in the AMCAS versus my transcript, where it might be that a course is listed as I took it sophomore year, but it might not show up that way on AMCAS because they bucket them. That's fine, right?
That's normal.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I had. Thank you so much.
The med schools never see your transcripts.
Uh, okay,
Yep. Well,
great.
I shouldn't say that. When you have one acceptance at the end, when like you've let every school go and you're like sure where you're going, that school is going to ask you to send them your official transcripts. So you have to send transcripts to one school at the end, and they just cross-check everything at the end.
Okay, great. That makes sense. Thanks, Joanne.
All right. All right. Yes. At this point, I think you guys can just start hollering out your questions.
Sorry, yeah, everyone's raises their hand, so I'm trying to be a rule follower too. Now we've talked so much about letters, but now it just makes me think for ACOMAS, same process if you're going through HPAC, right? Like they'd submit
Yeah.
half every.
Yeah.
Cool.
Exactly the same process. You just add them in. If you're doing Interfolio, you just connect it to AMCAS instead. It looks different. I don't think they have that title box in Nokomis, so it's a little bit cleaner, but yeah. In a lot of ways, Nokomis is a little bit more. No, I can't say it's more user friendly. It's just different. It looks different. Did anybody get into Nokomis already and look at it? Well, it's open, so you can do that if you want. If you have questions with Nokomis, you can come make an appointment. We can go through it together. But it's usually pretty easy to figure out. All right. Any
Joanne,
last?
can I ask a Comus questions?
Yeah.
Can I? Okay, sweet. I just have two. They're silly. Um, for my major, I just have like it's biology, but then it's like molecular cell biology and physiology. And I just put biology. Like, does it really matter having like that whole long thing for Comus or
Well, it's the people applicants tend to care because it sounds like a cool major, right? So Nokomis
yeah.
doesn't give you the option to type it in though, right?
Does it give you the option? I can't remember it gives you the I've been switching between the two today. I
Yeah.
don't think
Well,
it gives
if
you
you
the
have the
option.
option, if you do have the option to type it in, I would type it in. And the other option would be
Okay.
with like I would probably go with molecular biology rather than just straight biology
Okay.
because yeah, yours is a little bit more.
Yeah, I was wondering. Okay. Yeah, because I did it for I think MCAS like let me type it in. I like specified. And then the second question I have is so I haven't signed up for the MCAT, but like I just put a date. Like if I'm thinking I'm gonna take the MCAT again, is that okay? Or should I just say like no, I'm not taking it in the future for a COMAS?
Um, if you have a future MCAT indicated, they're gonna hold your app and not screen it till after that date.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. That's it. Thank you. Have a good night.
Me too. Jenny?
For the secondary major, is it considered like just major?
Like if you have a second one, yeah, I think you can list multiples.
Okay.
Just another question. If this is too individualistic, like then we can talk about this later. But you know how you mentioned that when with schools like they're you're put in different piles. Like for example, you said okay, like if you're from a certain state or California, many schools kind of know that you don't typically want to go out of state. Um, in your experience, have you seen people like who let's say you are from California, but then like you have strong ties to another state? Does that still kind of put you in that California pile?
No, so they can see where you got your degrees. So for example, because you have a degree from New York, I think that would help you with the New York schools. Because you're like a Californian who's left California. Most Californians haven't left California. So one of the criteria I remember, I'll just say Einstein, for example, I remember the director of admissions saying that So there are two kinds of Californians, those who've left and those who've never left. And the ones who've left get screened differently than the ones who've never left.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, sometimes one person asks a question makes you think of another question. So here I am with the MCAT question. If your date changes, like you push it up or whatever, but you've already indicated a date in the application, do you go back and up? That's one thing you can update, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you decide, like, let's say hypothetically, you hit submit on your primary, you're doing your secondaries, you've submitted your secondaries, and then you decide later that you want to take the January MCAT for some reason, then I wouldn't add the January date until after you've submitted all your secondaries. Because they will automatically, like, once you're processing, like once you're complete, you're gonna get assigned to a screener. But if you put a future date in too soon, then it may hold you back from getting put into the screening process.
Okay, makes sense. Is that the same if you're thinking of a September date, for example, like retaking?
Exactly.
Okay, so
So
just
what
don't
you could
mention it
do,
unless.
yeah, don't add it in till the last minute. So like if you're on a wait list for a September date, like just register for the September date like as late as possible.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Joanne.
Unless you really truly don't want to be screened, like worst case scenario is your first MCAT score is just not there, right? And you want to do your app, but you don't want to get read. If that's true, then put your MCAT date in there so they never look at your app until after you're accepted.
Oh, this is like a strategic thing, I guess, based off of your situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Okie dokie, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, we have made it all the way through the Tuesday night meeting as well. So if any last questions about anything? Okay, we'll get to filling it out. If you have any questions, please let me know. And once you get done with all of your primary writing or your primary filling it out, of course, you know what I'm going to tell you. Keep writing your secondaries. You guys are doing great. I'm here if you need me, and I will see you guys next Tuesday. I also added some events on my website if you want to go check out the events. Otherwise, have a wonderful evening. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Joanne.
You're very welcome. Bye.
Thanks, Joanne.